What's going on, fellow Gundam fans? My name is Good Oyster, and welcome to another review video of what we're going to review is Sword Impulse Gundam. Basically, the Impulse Gundam from Gundam Seed Destiny. When we first witnessed the Sword Impulse version was when on the very first episode when the plants were being under attack by a special ops group that infiltrated the plants to steal, kind of like the similar as the G weapons from Gundam Seed from the first show. But instead is a reverse. Now it'll be the Earth forces stealing the G weapons from the Zaft forces, which were the Gaia, Abyss, and then the Chaos. Now, with the destruction on the base and the 3G weapons being seized by the Earth forces, on the action, when Aether and Zala had to use a Zaku to protect Kigali Youth Alpha. Upon that, when the guy was going to come at, basically almost destroy Atherin, the Sword Impulse showed up out of nowhere after being launched from the Minerva. Now, the pilot of the Impulse Gundam was the main character named Shin Asuka, to where he was the main Impulse Gundam later on throughout the show until he pilots the Destiny Gundam. Afterwards, the current pilot for the Impulse Gundam would be Luna Maria Hawk, which is, from what I understand after watching some scenes from Freedom Gundam, the movie, is that Luna is now Shin's girlfriend or probably future fiance. But let's not get too deep in it, and if I spoil any scenes, I am sorry. I even haven't watched the movie myself. I've been hoping to watch it soon. Upon the Sword Impulse, it is a close combat variant of the Impulse. Now, it's able to have the beam saber. I don't know why I was putting my camera up in the air. Sorry about that. The Sword Impulse was mainly for the close combat, to where the shield on there is retracted to the smaller version so that the Impulse can use it as a small shield, so that it can make some, I can't say tight turns, but probably be a hindrance or non-hindrance during close combat, like say a Dagger or Zaku tries to use their Heat Hawk or Beam Saber to hit the Impulse, and then the Impulse will deflect it or block the blast or the weapon. Now, the Sword Impulse is a very unique, not unique. It is another variant of like the Strike Gundam from the first Gundam Seed for the Sword pack. So the Zaft forces kind of made their own Strike Gundam, but renamed it as the Impulse. Now, between the Strike Gundam and the Impulse, their variants are still the same. The Impulse has 3 variants, and so does Strike. The main variant for the Impulse was the Flight Unit, which is the regular color of the Impulse from the show. Then it has a different color phase armor for each pack it is equipped with. With the Sword pack, it is equipped. The phase shield, the phase armor, will be under by a deep red, black, and possibly white around the whole body. Now, for those who haven't watched the Gundam Seed Destiny or Seed franchise, the Seed Destiny, the Impulse is dismantled into 3 categories. This is what we get from, I don't know if you guys ever watch the first Gundam series on which is 0079, when the original Gundam, the RX-78 Gundam, it came in as a whole unit of a mobile suit, but with the advanced technology, the Gundam is detachable to 2 or 3 segments. So there would be the torso variant, torso segment and the leg segment, which is the Impulse that has the same design. Now, with the core fighter in the RX-78, it has a laser guiding system to where it links up with the two segments from the up and lower body to combine it into a main mobile suit, basically as the same design and mechanics. Though this fighter, I haven't painted it. I don't have any. Unfortunately, do not have any paint markers. I mean, I have paint markers, but I don't have any regular paint to paint this thing. And unfortunately, like from this mat, I have no art equipment. So possibly later on, I might paint this, or I might paint it to make it look like, did not mean to do that. Well, it won't go hurt it. Kind of like a fighter jet in a way. Like make it into a. I keep dropping this. Make it into like a Earth Alliance kind of core Splendor. But that is the name of the fighter. I mean, the core fighter in the series is called the Core Splendor. Different names, so that licensing. Now, the other variants with, I want to say it is kind of like the Buster Pack. So the Buster Pack on the Impulse is that instead of red and blue, well, technically it'll still have blue, but like in a little bit of a torso, like right here where it's black right here, it'll have like a little blue. But the top part of the chest will be marked for black, honestly. Black or green, I'm 50-50 on those two colors. Now, the difference on the other variants is that after the sword would be basically for close combat, the Buster Pack would be for long range or even possibly for heavy usage, and the Aerial Pack will be for flying and also close combat as well. Now, the situations going on to compare for the Impulse was the Zap Forces were wanting to make a mobile suit to where it doesn't need to retreat from the battlefield to resupply its energy. So what they designed is a energy laser targeting beam that lays on to top of the head of the Impulse, or where you see the camera is. It leads up to it, which raises up the power, basically recharge. It's like a rechargeable battery on a mobile suit, from what I can believe after watching the series. Now, when Destiny does show up to where Shin does pilot the Destiny Gundam, he does have to retreat back to Minerva to recharge the energy packs. But with the Impulse, is basically, as long as Minerva isn't been destroyed in battle, the Impulse can continue to fight on the field. Comparing to the Strike Gundam is unfortunately has to go back to the Archangel to resupply for ammunition and the power supply. Though there is the design of the Perfect Strike Gundam to where it has a much larger energy pack source, basically kind of like the same discharge of like the Gundam Unicorn's Magnum beam rifle. If you see, it's kind of like has multiple sections, like basically just shooting around. But after that, let me show you guys what the pack looks like when it's equipped. And this is the pack when it's being equipped. Now, this is an old model of the Impulse to where I kind of wish they would have made a better design, but they actually made a revive version of the Sword Impulse and the Buster Impulse, but they are a P Bandai product, and the only way you can get those is the P Bandai website or in eBay. Those are the only two sources that I have found those revive versions, but they're premium models, sadly. But the revive version on the Impulse, it is on Gundam Planet as usual for my recommendation. Now, with the sword impulse, like I mentioned, it has two large beam swords to where you can actually combine them kind of like a, not like dual wield, but like Darth Maul way of from like the Star Wars from Phantom Menace. Now, the boomerang, this on the back on his pack, let me clear that up. Now, the pack of these two are its beam boomerangs, honestly. So once it takes out these, I'm gonna say I want to show you the the sheaths of the boomerangs. Once he throws it, and a beam saber will come out, and it throws like a regular boomerang, as other people's and other standing design of it, and then also comes back to this sword impulse. Now, I do like having the sword impulse, just even though this is an old model in my collection. I do have somewhat of a. I am happy that I have this in my collection, even though it's an old model. But it is. Be very careful if you guys want to get this model. Be very careful on posing. It is really stiff on movement. I don't know if anyone plays with their models. I mean, pretty much all of us probably do, in a way. Either way, this is like a blunky. That's not even a word. A very stiff model. So if you try and move its arm, it'll have like a resistance stiff. So I'm dropping stuff today apparently. So it's always good to have this as a collection, even though it's not as good as the Revive version with different parts and that you can maneuver in different position. But this is an old early 2000 model. And I'm pretty sure you guys can paint your sword impulse whatever color you want and definitely make some other designs on it. As me, I'm just a noob with just snapping pieces together like a Lego. So that is going to be it for now. I was definitely wanted to show you guys the boomerang blades, but I don't think it'll fit in the hand. I couldn't get the hand to fit into the hilt. Or the hilt. So that's going to be it for today. For this video, I got another one for you guys. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. You guys have any comments or any questions, or even give me a heads up on the impulse history, the manufacturing history. I would love to learn. And if you guys want to subscribe, give it a go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss the video. Try and be consistent as best I can. And if you guys don't want to subscribe, I can't force you. And as always, guys, I will see you on the next review. Bye-bye.